The biggest one would be the study tools, the mini quizzes, like so easy to access on your phone. Just pull it
Yeah.
out and you don't have to think about it. That's like one of the apps I open whenever I unlock my
Yeah.
phone. I gotta check out your quizzes or review notes. And it's just so useful and helpful and all that.
Awesome.
I can't thank you enough. Otherwise, this is probably not like possible. I just won't do it. Just everything else just didn't sound doable to me. When I saw your video, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. I can just study for 2 hours in the morning and then just little times because that's what kind of time I have with the kids.
Yeah.
I'm working full time, just little time, like 10, 15 minutes. Even when I'm like hanging out with my kids, I would pull out my phone sometimes and do a little 5-minute
Yeah.
quizzes when they're happily playing, by themselves. So I don't do that. Just little time like that, they do add up.
Welcome to episode 77 of the CPA Exam Experience podcast from SuperfastCPA. In today's episode, you're going to hear me speak with Ying. So Ying started her CPA exams when she first got out of school, but she was never fully into it. And, admittedly, in your first few years, it's not absolutely critical that you get your CPA. It's obviously a benefit, and most people would say if they could come back and do it over, they would do them as soon as possible. But that's just not the reality. A lot of people kind of put them off for several years. And Ying got to the point in public accounting where the people that got hired around her same time were starting to get promoted, becoming manager. And she just realized that, okay, that now it's time, I've got to do these. Ying had a full-on family at home, multiple kids. And so trying to balance all that and pass the CPA exam at the same time, that is what you'll hear in Ying's interview. So in this interview, we'll cover a lot of the strategic type of things like how she found the time to study, how she stuck to a routine every day with everything else going on, how she managed work and all the things with her home life, dealing with her kids, and also fitting in her own study time each day and just how she figured all that out. And then like the other episodes, we also will cover a lot of the actual study strategies, how to study more efficiently, how to study more effectively. So regardless of whatever your personal kind of background situation is while you're trying to pass your CPA exams, you will find a lot of helpful tips and advice and strategies in this interview with Ying. Before we get into the interview, I just want to mention two things. First, if you have not yet, take the time to spend 1 hour attending one of our free study training webinars. That is where you will get an in-depth overview of our study framework and our study strategies. That's pretty much where every person you've heard on these interviews started with Superfast CPA. And if they were on our podcast, it's usually what they refer to as kind of the turning point in their CPA study journey. So you can sign up for one of those trainings on our main website at superfastcpa.com. It's the main thing at the top of the homepage. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link down in the description. The second thing is each month we have a free podcast giveaway where we give away 3 pairs of Powerbeat Pro headphones, and you can sign up for that or enter that giveaway. It's completely free to enter. You can do that at superfastcpa.com/enter, or again, there should be a link down in the description. The idea with giving away headphones is just going along with the idea of always be studying. Audio is such a powerful tool to help constantly review the material because while you're doing other things, some interviews have talked about how they would mountain bike on Saturdays because that's what they love to do, but they'd be listening to our audio notes the whole time. Or somebody else mentioned skiing, doing the same thing. So it's a great way as you do some of your normal mundane daily tasks, you can still be listening to audios in the background. It's the same reason that you end up memorizing pop songs, even if you're not trying to. That repeat exposure just cements the ideas and concepts in your brain, and it's just a great retention tool. So sign up for the free study training and our free podcast giveaway. With that out of the way, let's get into the interview with Ying.
Where are you located?
I am in Valparaiso, Indiana. I just moved here actually a year ago from Illinois, north part of
Nice.
Illinois, like Lake Forest.
And
What about you?
I'm in Salt Lake City. Have you ever been out
Okay.
here?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
How's the weather over there?
it just kind of turned. Like it was real hot. We get very distinct. It's kind of two seasons. Spring and fall are super short, and summer is long, and it goes into winter pretty fast.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
we'll have like October is like the 1 month of fall, and then it gets really cold and starts to snow. So what took you to Indiana?
So my husband grew up here, and my mother-in-law lives here, and we just visited here quite often to see my mother-in-law. And every time we came here, just like everybody's so friendly, waving at you. And we have two little kids, a 2-year-old and a
Okay,
3-year-old.
cool.
So I'm like, wow, it's a great, I just feel like it's a great place to raise kids.
Yeah.
They have great schools here, and the cost of living's lower, you know,
Yeah, that's awesome.
all that.
Do you work in public accounting? Did you?
Yep.
Okay,
I working CPA firm.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
It's actually in Illinois, but they're so flexible with me. Most people actually now since COVID, we work remotely, and I may be going to the office once a month. If I choose to, I don't have to, but I do enjoy being away, being in a work environment for one day and see my coworkers face to face.
that is nice, yeah,
Mhm.
but not every day. That's like that's a nice
No,
blend.
yeah, it's an hour and a half away. It's a long
So you didn't
drive,
even need to change jobs then. It's with your same firm. You guys just
Mhm.
moved an hour and a half away. Oh,
Correct.
that's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. And so where are you at from, like, have you been out of school for a while, or like what brought you back around to getting the CPA?
Yeah, I graduated. So I've been out of school for a while. So I graduated December 2012. And I was working, when I was in college, and just needed to, well, I didn't have to. I wanted to help out my parents without the tuition costs. So I did not, like right after college, I started working in a small, very, very small CPA firm in Chicago. And then I just never, I just felt like I didn't need to become a CPA at the time. I mean, it would be nice, but it wasn't critical at the time. So now where I'm at, everybody around me is getting promoted to a manager, and now I'm a supervisor for a couple of years now. And, in order to become a manager, I have to get my CPA. And it's been hanging over my head, since I graduated. And then I also, my firm supported me, helped me pay for the school to get my 150
Okay.
hours. I'm like, I didn't just get, spend all that time and effort to get my 150 credit hours for nothing. Okay, I'm already there. Yeah, I understand some people may not have enough credit hours, and then they just don't want to pursue it. But I'm already there. I just need one little bit, push
Yeah.
to get the CPA. I've always envied people, who have their CPAs. I'm, whoa, what is it like? Oh, she's a CPA, one day when I grow up.
Yeah. Well, that would be frustrating too. Especially you've stayed in public accounting this long. You have the same like knowledge level and experience level. And yeah, like the only difference is that you don't have those 3 letters behind your name. And so, yeah, but it
I
does.
did.
Yeah, we have a
Sorry.
1
I
second delay. I'm
did.
sorry. Jeez. We have like a 1 second delay. So like sometimes we'll start
Okay.
responding anyways, but that'll happen. Sorry. So go ahead. Whatever.
okay.
What you were going to say.
I did try out in a private company, working for a private insurance company. It was not for me. It was way too repetitive. Every month I did the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I switched back to public. I feel just more challenging and interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So how long ago was it from today that you were like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm getting a review course, and just how did that all go?
So before I had kids, or we had kids, that was 4 years ago, I I heard about BEC having changes, content
Mm-hmm.
changes. I'm like, oh, maybe I should get that one out of the way before they change a lot of the material. So I decided to go online and found some like answer key, if you will. Like I studied for like a week. I didn't even buy textbooks or anything. I just found was memorizing answer key and then just scheduled the exam. And yeah, of course I passed. And then I got pregnant, so I just put that on the
Yeah.
side. And then 4 years later, like I said, everybody around me is getting promoted. And then I do want to move up in my organization. So I'm like, okay. And it's after tax season. It was in May. I came across your YouTube
Okay.
video and I'm like, oh, that sounds really doable, maybe, sounds almost too good to be true. Like, okay, how bad could it be? I'll give it a shot. I'll make this small investment. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it, in the end. So yeah, I just bought the bundle, listened to your pro course videos, or watched them, I should say. And then I scheduled for FAR. I gave myself about 3 months to study for FAR because I knew that one was the most difficult, not difficult, but had the most material.
Yeah.
But at the first month, I was like, oh, I have a little scratchy through. I can't get up at 5 today. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So yeah, just that morning routine, I think was, definitely made the difference for me. Because before I tried to study at night at the very beginning, and I was just so exhausted after working full time and spending time with my kids, all that. It wasn't sinking in for
Yeah.
me. And I remember in one of your videos, you said like you may look forward to getting up in the morning. Maybe you didn't use the exact
Yeah.
word, but I kind of, felt like, okay, I just got to do it, like 5 o'clock is like clockwork. you
Yeah.
know. If you want something, like my husband says that I'm very determined if I want something really bad. So you just gotta, keep pushing through and yeah, don't give up.
Yeah. I do say that in those videos that you can get to the point where I think I say you almost look forward to it. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
really
almost
look
like,
forward
yeah.
to your CPA study, but I think what it is when you get into a routine and you do it each morning and you get it out of the way, it's basically the reason it feels so good is because if previously you're always trying to study and then just days go by and it doesn't happen, you're not really in a routine, you're always stressing out about it in the back of your mind. And so getting in that routine just gives you that sense of like progress, and you start to gain a sense of momentum. And that's why it's almost a relief to kind of get in that cycle, because then you're not always just stressing out about it.
Yeah, like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, wow, I got that out of the way. I have a full day to work or do laundry, whatever, spend time with my kids, Yeah, I did the mini quizzes in between, and then the audio notes, whatever I'm driving. So that's just, I'm so glad I found you.
Now, so did you get a main review course to kind of do your main study sessions with?
Did, I did. My firm offered Roger,
Okay. Yep.
a CPA. Yeah. So I used that.
So do you kind of just do the, like what I talk about, the 2-hour morning session, you just apply that to your Roger materials?
Yep. I did multiple choice questions, and then the 30 question overview.
Yeah. Awesome. And so I saw in your note, so you've passed one section so far, right?
Yeah, I did FAR. Yeah.
Oh, so you're done with FAR.
I'm studying.
Awesome.
Yes, 84. Yeah, I posted on the profile.
Oh, okay.
I was so happy. Yeah, I did. And then, I'm currently studying for audit, scheduled it for October 26th.
Awesome.
I've been studying since last week, like almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, getting FAR out of the way is, I like to say it's like that's more than halfway.
Relief.
Just from like an all things considered perspective, it's mentally, it's such a big step to get FAR done.
Like,
Yeah. And once you
totally.
pass FAR, you know that your process works more or less. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I would also say my experience definitely
Hmm.
helped, like by working in public accounting firm for few
Definitely.
years.
Yeah. 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 You got a lot of experience. So you started, we have a lot of people who do what you did. Basically, they find our free webinar thing. That's so you saw one of our
Yep.
ads and you started by watching the free webinar,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
did. Yep.
And then so you started when you jumped into the full study process, it was kind of following our study framework from the beginning then.
Yeah. I started using Quizlet,
Hmm.
and I just felt like after like a week or two, felt like it wasn't, sinking in the way I wanted it to. So I started writing down the
Yeah.
notes on flashcards, and I would put them in this little pocket with a zipper. I'll take them wherever I go.
Yeah.
Like if I have to commute somewhere. My husband usually drives. If we go out of town to visit his family or friends, I would bring that little pocket with me. Just take them out, in the car and wherever I go. Just
Yeah, and it's not the idea with the flashcards. It's not like it needs to be Quizlet or anything. It's just some form. And I don't know if you've heard other podcast interviews, but like a lot of people have different ways
yeah,
of
I
doing
have.
it. It's whether it's notes
Mm-hmm.
or physical note
Yep.
cards, like you're talking about, or Quizlet or whatever it is. The point is just some way of taking the topics that you personally find difficult and putting them in
Mm-hmm.
your own words, or
Yeah.
breaking apart practice sims and making a series of flashcards for journal entries or whatever it is.
Yep. That's what I did. Yep. Breaking things apart,
Yeah, that's awesome.
write them down.
So how do you balance, because in the past we've had like specific requests for like the busy moms, they want more episodes
Mm-hmm.
with people that are working full time and have little kids. How do you balance that? Like, what does a typical day of studying look like for you? What does a typical full day look like, all things included? Like when you study, how
Okay.
family time in the evening, all that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm very fortunate. My parents live 5 minutes
Oh,
away
okay.
from me. So they would come over every day, pretty much, and then, watch the kids. And then sometimes my mom would pick them up for us. But I try to, because I do need breaks in
Yeah.
between. I can't study, like sit down for 5 or 6 hours at a time. So I would go pick up my kids, bring them home, and then my mom would, feed them lunch, and I would just lock myself in our bedroom. Actually, I lock the
Yeah.
door and study. So the typical day, let's say like today's Monday, I would get up at 5, study for a couple hours, and my husband usually drops off the kids at school, and then I would just work, and I work full
Hmm.
time. So I usually check my emails and work, and then, in between, breaks, I would pull out either your mini quizzes or review notes. When I go pick up my kids, I would turn on your audio notes in the car on the way there. Even in car line, I would, listen to your audio notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring them home. They'll hang out with either my husband or my mom. My dad actually uh, cooks for us. He used to run a Chinese restaurant,
Oh,
so
that's
he would
awesome.
usually come home and yeah. So I have a very good support,
Yeah,
system.
that's great.
And then yeah, my friends are supportive, and I've often turned down invitations from friends. Oh, hey, you wanna come, to this party, blah blah blah. We'll have this going on. I'll go shopping, and I just you have to say no. Like it's only
Yeah.
temporary. I tell myself it's okay to miss those things for a little while. And then I still have play dates for my kids, and I'm actually hosting for a birthday party. My eldest son is turning 4 next week. I'm hosting a birthday party for him. It's a lot, but I sacrifice sleep,
Yeah.
right? That's what moms do, and it's only temporary.
Yeah.
Keep telling myself that. I sometimes before I go to bed, I listen to your audio
I
notes.
mean, a lot of people say that, which hope you
Yeah,
don't have any nightmares.
I laughed at that when you made that comment. um, I think it was
Oh
John
yeah, the
that you
most
spoke
recent
to
one. Yeah,
last
I
time.
already used that joke.
Yeah, the most recent one. Yeah, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't. I'm so glad. But again, I found you.
I'm glad it's been helpful. It's great to hear. I love hearing these stories.
Like I've seen the textbooks that you get, from the review courses. They're like this
Yeah.
thick. I'm like, how can anybody, that's a lot of time to read through the entire book, and it just sounds so daunting to me
Yeah.
every time. And I never opened. Well, I opened it once. I did not open the book for far when I was studying for far. I just read your notes and listened to your audio notes and mini quizzes. Yeah, just follow the blueprint. Oh, it's right here. Look, I taped it on my wall.
That's the actual mind map, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
Just,
And then you're
yeah.
did you do the thing where you write out like the good things that'll happen?
The
Yeah,
goals.
yeah.
Yeah, it's here. It's sitting on my desk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, keeps me motivated. I want to be able to tell my kids, when they're a little older, I mean, it's a CPA.
Yeah.
I just want to be proud of myself and want my kids to be proud of me. And not that I'm, not successful or
Right.
anything, but just I feel like I don't want to waste, all my 150 credit hours.
Exactly.
The time
Yeah.
and money I spend.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into accounting and you stay in accounting, especially public accounting, it's very much like, okay, you essentially, the whole reason you did a bachelor's and then whether you did a master's or the 150 hours was just to be able to take these exams. And so it's just kind of like that capstone.
Yeah.
So what about the evenings? If you nail the morning study session, let's say on a weekday, if you nail the morning study sessions, you do all the mini sessions throughout the day, so you feel like you've really, got put in 3, 4, 5 hours of study time. Do you kind of take the evenings off, or you're just available in the evenings, have dinner with the family and everything?
I have dinner with my family every day. Sometimes on a weekday, you said, right? Okay. After the kids go to bed, I would maybe study for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just easy things, review my flashcards, and maybe do a few multiple choice questions or review the answers that I got wrong, on the multiple choice questions. Nothing too intense.
Yeah. And then when you said your parents will take your kids, that's more of a weekend. That's how the weekends go typically. You get the 5 or 6 hours in.
So I don't think I get 5 or 6 hours in on the weekends. So, I would still get up at 5 on the weekends. And then, yeah, maybe. And then my husband, would take them somewhere to park or something. I can study for another hour or so.
Yeah.
And then in the car, if we go to the mall or something, I would again pull out my flashcards. And maybe all that time adds up to 5 or 6. I never timed it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, whatever you're doing, is working. And that was my big thing it was just easier for me to not take days off. And that's just what I did. But I didn't have kids at the time. I was able to like do that. There wasn't these, but kids is just a whole different, like now I have 2 kids similar your ages and,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we have this mommy guilt. I often feel guilty. Yeah. Oh, I could be spending my time, this time with my kids right now. But I spend enough time. Like they're only in school for half days. So I spend the majority of my afternoon. Like right now it's our slow seasons at work. So I don't have to work, that many hours every day. So yeah, I don't feel like, I'm neglecting them or anything. Yeah. On the weekends, my parents would take them to their house and play there for a couple hours. Lunchtime, I miss lunch sometimes, just have my husband bring me back a sandwich. We still have play dates on the weekends. Just that morning time is very, very important, at least for me. Get that out of the way, you feel so much better. You don't feel like, oh, I gotta study,
Exactly.
throughout the day. Yeah. Such a good strategy. Why didn't I think of that? Well, I'll say this though. Everybody who knows me knew that I was not a morning person. And, before kids, I could sleep for like 13, 14 hours a
Yeah.
day easily. And then, yeah, now it's like if I can get 7 hours, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question. And we've had a lot of people I've interviewed. They've kind of pointed out that fact. They're like, I've never been a morning person, but studying at night and all the other stuff I had going on was just not working. So I watched your videos and just decided this is what I've got to do just to get these exams over with. And then once they got used to it and like got in the routine, they really, really like it. Or again, like we were saying earlier, it's just a relief to build that in the morning so that it's just over with. And they highly prefer, it's a small trade-off to make, to wake up the 2 hours earlier, to just have that feeling of, basically a feeling of accomplishment before you even start work for the day. So I guess that was my question. How long did it take you to kind of get used to waking up early? And I'm guessing you wouldn't go back to trying to study, not in the morning, right?
So it took me about a month, I would say, to get used to it. Like I said, at the beginning, I'm like, the kids woke me up in the middle of the night. I didn't get solid 6 hours of sleep. So maybe I was snooze for another half an hour. So it took me really about a month, I would say, give or take, to get used to the 5 hour. Because I knew my exam, I wasn't going to change my exam day. I'm like, okay, I'm getting closer to the test day. I don't want to reschedule it. That's just not going to, be good. So I knew, okay, I only have 2 months left now, and I'm only like 1/3 way through the material. So maybe not even. So I was like, okay, I got to really start getting up right at 5. I can't do snoozing. And then I feel like after this is done, I may be able to get up at maybe 7 or 6:30. Maybe I can even go for a master's degree or something. I feel like if we can do this, maybe I can pursue it further education. My mom was joking with me the other day. She's, oh, maybe you can, get your master's by studying like this. I don't know. We'll see about that.
And that's another funny thing. I mean, it's not funny, but a lot of people mention that. They're like, they see the power of getting up earlier and 2 hours of dedicated focus on just some like external personal goal, whatever you want to call it, outside of work. Yeah. And a lot of people have said that. I mean, you've probably heard it on the interviews. A lot of people have said something like that. Now that I'm in this groove, I almost miss getting up and doing something extra productive.
Yes.
And like I'm trying to find what I'm going to do next, or I'm going to get another certification or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel too.
I mean, you'd be almost done with the master's, I would think, with the 150 hours you already
150.
have. I mean, I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
but
I haven't looked into it, to be honest, but I might look into it and just see.
Well, one question I've been asking is, on days where you really don't want to study, what do you tell yourself? Or like, what idea do you keep coming back to?
Just that, I don't want to waste my 150 credit hours, and people around me are getting promoted. My boss really has high hopes for me, and my kids, I didn't waste, 3 months of my time just to let it go to waste. Because I told everybody, I know that will be another motivating factor. Because if people around you know, oh, you're taking the exam, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I quit, or, it didn't happen. Not that I cared that much about like how much people think of me, but they'll be like, oh, she's a quitter, she quit. Yeah, I have kids. You can make up excuses. Oh, she does have 2 little kids. But again, I'm very fortunate to have my parents here, and my husband's very supportive. So I just don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whatever helps motivate you, like whatever thought. I mean, that's why the first video in the pro course is find your why. And I think when people are just starting, they might discount that or just kind of think like, okay, that's kind of like a fluffy concept. Like, who cares? Just show me how to study. But once you get a few weeks
Yeah.
in or a few
Yeah.
months in, then you like get why that's so important, because it is a grind
Yes.
to do this
Yes.
every day, like every single day for
It
hours.
is. You gotta have strong
Yeah.
willpower.
What have been some of your biggest struggles? Whether, I mean, it might have been stuff you already kind of mentioned, like finding the time or the motivation, but what's been your biggest struggle in this study process?
Finding the time, like mommy guilt, like I
Oh, yeah.
mentioned, like not spending time with my kids. I could be picking them up from school today, but instead grandma's picking them up. But I don't want to call myself a helicopter mom. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
heard of that term, but I'm much better now. But when I had my first, I was that way. I'm like, everything has to be like hands-on, like perfect by the
Yeah.
book, you know. But now with my second, I'm not more like that.
That's funny.
But still, I want to do it myself. I just feel bad not to do things for them. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I mean, my wife's very much like that. I mean, I think it's normal. I don't
Thank
think it's
you.
weird or anything. It makes sense. Okay, and then we kind of covered how you study on the weekends. The few days before an exam, what's kind of your final review
Yeah.
strategy, or what did you do for that?
Okay, so I scheduled my exam on a Friday at 9 a.m. So I actually took time off. I took that week
Okay.
off, Monday through Thursday. So I would drive to my parents. It's 5 minutes away from our house. So I would just hide in their house and just start, maybe around 6 o'clock, just do multiple choice questions and maybe two testlets of multiple choice questions. So yeah, simulations, I would do maybe like 5 sets. Just do it till my brain's feel
Yeah.
fried. I can't take this anymore. It was probably around lunchtime, I would say. And then, I would take a break. Well, I would take breaks in between. Like I get emails, I would check my
Yeah.
emails. But I would say I got a solid 6 hours total, each day of studying.
Yeah, that's really good.
So Monday through Thursday, I feel like that really helped me, gain the confidence. Okay, you're used to the format of the test. I did a mock
Yeah,
exam.
the full 4-hour
I
thing.
did one of the I did one. See, on the test day, I got there at same time. I got up at 5. I drove. It's about 30 minutes from my house, so I drove there and I found the location, make sure it's the right address and everything. So I took out the review notes. I actually printed it out, put it in a binder. I would just go through them. I don't think I got through all of them, actually. Maybe I was going too slow. I just wanted to make sure I understand every
Yeah.
item. I studied my flashcards first. Maybe that was why I didn't get through the whole review notes. And then surprisingly, there was a long line. So I was in line for like an hour to get into the exam room. Oh, can I say that, I don't know if you would call this a tip, or you know how you get a 15-minute
Yeah.
break in between the exam? When you walk out of the room, I looked at the clock, right? But the clock wasn't like an exact time. It was like, I want to say maybe 11:30. I was like 11:23. So I missed the clock by like 1 minute. So by the time I get back to my computer, it was already like 16 minutes. I missed a minute I didn't realize automatically
start again? Yeah, I didn't know that either. But
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
I'm like 1 minute. I had extra time at the end, but still that got me a little nervous. Like, oh, hopefully I will have enough time. And then I can't focus if my stomach is
Yeah.
growling. So I make sure I brought snacks with me. Well, that will fill me up for a good solid 2
Yeah.
hours. I don't want to be like hungry in the middle of the exam. And they have those headphones in the set. I don't know if each test center is different. I put on the noise canceling
Yeah.
one, but after like 20 minutes, my ears, like I started having a headache. Like this is too tight. I was sweating, so I took them off, and that made me feel better. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just me or just little things that get me nervous. Like I just want to be prepared for test day. Like I'm Like, I wish I knew someone to talk about, the test day experience before I went in, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it
um,
is. You get in there and I mean, it's almost like you're going through prison security or something.
hmm Yeah.
It's a little bit, the first time it's like a little bit shocking. Like, holy cow, this is like, I feel like if I
Yeah.
say a
But
word during the test, they'll kick me out or something.
I had to wear a mask, and I just by default I took it down lower. I was trying to focus on a question or something, and this lady came over and said, "Oh, please put your mask back up."
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm glad I didn't have to sit through the 4-hour exam with a
Yeah.
mask on. That would be just get, it's just an extra annoyance, just hot. How was your
hmm
time management? Did you get through the multiple choice pretty quickly by like about halfway?
Yeah, I did. I made sure I wrote down the time
Hmm.
slots. Well, not like the times that I'm supposed to
Yeah.
finish each testlet. You get about 45 minutes for each testlet. So at first, how they have you review the policies. You get 5 minutes, I think. So during that 5 minute, I wrote down the times that I'm supposed to finish each testlet, just to keep myself on track.
And then also doing those all through your study process, do you feel like doing the sets of 30 every day really helped? Just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep. Towards the end, as I was getting closer to test day, I picked 33 questions instead of
Hmm.
30, just to get, more used to it. Because I did forget, because when I got to the 30th question, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can go back and review. But I actually, missed the last three questions because I was so used
Oh,
to,
doing 30. Yeah.
doing the 30. Yeah. But I was glad that I tested it out before the actual
Ye-
exam day.
Oh, so okay, that was on your mock exam where you got used
That
to
was on
doing
my,
30.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're well on your way. I'm glad our study format, whatever, the study tools have been helpful to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Otherwise, this is probably not like possible. I just won't do it. Just, everything else just didn't sound doable to me. When I saw your video, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. I can just study for 2 hours in the morning, and then just little times, because that's what kind of time I have with the kids.
Yeah.
I'm working full time, just little time, like 10, 15 minutes. Even when I'm like hanging out with my kids, I would pull out my phone sometimes and do a little 5 minute
Yeah.
quizzes when they're happily playing, by themselves. So I don't do that. And just little time like that, they do add up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's huge. I mean, I would say that's like the biggest thing that I think people discount, or they don't think
hmm
like how effective can 5 minutes from my phone really be. And so most people
Yeah.
just don't do it. But it's the accumulation. I mean, if you think about it logically,
hmm
it's like, okay, whatever you're doing in your
Yeah.
main study session, whether that's 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever that is, that's what it is. But then if you read review notes, listen to audios whenever you're in your car, you took quizzes, and you add even an extra hour a day, that's an extra 50 or 60 hours over the course of your study timeline. That can only
Yeah.
help. And then when the most common failed score is between like a 70 and a 74, 3, 4, 5 points, that can easily be, just make
hmm
the difference. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would be your top 2 or 3 tips to people who are trying to study, but they're struggling to come up with a successful daily process? What would be your top tips to those people?
Just find what motivates you. Don't give up. I know some people can study at night, but after a long day, everything that happens during the day, I would recommend to study in the morning if you can. I strongly recommend, because that made the difference for me, because I was not a morning person, and I somehow became a morning
Yeah.
person. Do the mini quizzes. Don't, underestimate the mini quizzes and the review notes. Maybe print them out if you can. That to me, looking at it on paper, I don't know. Just flip them
Yeah.
through. Just make the mental, it helped me sink in the material.
Yeah. I think just getting in a daily routine just starts to kind of unlock progress in all the other
Yeah.
areas. It's hard to make progress if you're inconsistent, because then you're always feeling like you're behind on your study plan. And that's just such a first crucial step. I mean, that's like the foundation is. That's why I preach the 2-hour thing, because it's easier to find 2 hours than 4 hours a day. And 2 hours in the morning, it's locked in. Obviously, you know all my thoughts about that.
I find myself just, after the 2-hour mark, maybe you could do 3 hours, but after that, my brain just, you're reading questions, but it's not sinking in. You're like just going through the motions, You're just wasting your time. You might as well maybe go for a walk or do something else. That's what I do. Just, get up and do something else and then maybe come back to it if you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Later.
And there is something to that as well. Like when you're doing this study thing, you're putting in so much new information that at a certain point, your short-term memory can't even handle anymore. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, it was awesome to meet you, like you said, virtually.
Nice to meet you too.
And
when I was listening,
No, go ahead.
to your podcast, I was thinking at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I get to go on one of those. It's fun. It's helpful. It's definitely motivating. It was motivating to me when I listened to the podcast. So thank you to all those people who agreed to go on the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's been very helpful to other people, putting people's full story or study experience, CPA story, whatever you want to call it. People just find it really, really helpful. And it makes sense to just hear other people that have, struggled, then they started figuring it out, the mistakes they were making. You just hear all these experiences of other CPA candidates going through exactly what you're going through.
All right, so that was the interview with Ying. I'm sure you found that incredibly helpful and motivating, and hopefully gave you several ideas that you can apply to your own study process. If you found this episode helpful, or the podcast in general, take a second to share these interviews with someone you know who is also working on their CPA exams. These interviews are the most helpful free resource available anywhere for anyone that's struggling with the study process, whether it's trying to find the time to study, or how to use your review course more efficiently and more effectively, or how to build retention into your process so that you don't forget all the things that you're spending so much time learning in the first place. And don't forget to sign up for one of our free study training webinars if you haven't done that yet. And if you are watching or listening, you might as well join our free podcast giveaway, where you will have a chance to win one of 3 pairs of Powerbeat Pro headphones each month. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.